Welcome to the video answer key for the Treble Clef Lines and Spaces Lesson 2 workbook. I'll be completing the workbook in real time so you can follow along and check your answers as we go. Let's get started. You can write your name and date. The directions tell us that music notes are named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet. Follow the same order from A to G. Once you reach G, you can repeat the pattern starting again with A. Fill in the missing letters. Keep in mind the pattern may go forward, backwards, and even skips. Okay? So the first thing I would do is, what is the music alphabet? Okay, so you should remember the music alphabet is, going to put it up here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we have a sense of reference, okay? And I'll go ahead and put my name. Okay. So number 1, we see we have C, D, E, F. So automatically you see you have C, D, E, F. So we should know that we have to put A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we have G. Okay? So if you have that, you can give yourself a little check. Number 2, we see we have F, G, A, B. A little bit tricky, huh? All right, let's look at our music alphabet here. So first of all, we see we have F, G. So you see you have F, G. Then it went back to A, B, like here, A, B. So we already know if we start here on F, G, and then go back to the beginning of our alphabet, A, B, we have to put C here. And of course, what comes next? Note D. And then what comes next? Note E. Okay? All right, let's go to number 3. We have F, E, D, and C. Let's give this a try. Are you ready? So you see we have F, we have E, we have D, we have C. We're going backwards, okay? So what should come here? Let's keep going. So we know we have F, E, D, C. So we have to add a B, and we have to add an A. What letter comes before the G and before the F is letter G. Okay. All right. So that's answer for your answer for question number 3. Let's look at question number 4. We have D, we have C, and we have B. Okay. A little tricky, but not so bad. All right. So let's look. We have D, we have C, and we have B. We should know that we have to add an A here. And then what letter comes next? Here's A. We have to go to G. And then what's next? You should know F. Good. And then what about our letter for this box? What do you have? It should be E. Okay? So looking at our alphabet, this will always guide you. You have E, D, look at, we're going to the left, going backwards. C, B, A, then we go back to G, and then going backwards back to F. Okay, question number 5. We have E, we have G, we have 2 blank spaces, we have an F, we have an A, and another blank space. So we automatically know we had an E and then they went to G. So they're skipping the F. So if I put a little F here and a circle and then put a slash, we know that we're skipping F and then we're going to G. What letter comes after G? We know we go back to the beginning of our alphabet. Letter A, I'll put a circle with a slash. We have to skip it and go to B. What letter comes after B? We know C. We got to skip C and go to D. Good. What letter comes after D? Would be E. We have to skip it. We go to F. What letter comes after F? We know is G. We can skip it and go to A. What letter comes after A? We skip it and we go to C. Okay? That's the answer for question number 5. Let's go to question number 6. We have a G. Well, first of all, we skip 2 boxes. G, A, B. Then they give us C and another blank box. So let's give this a try. First thing, go with what they give you. So we have a G here and we're going to C. So let's think about that. How can we get to G? Well, we know we have to go back to A. So we'll put our A, B, and now we're here at C. What letter name comes after C? We know D. And now we go to the beginning, which would be note E or letter E, and then F. Okay, so that's section 1. Okay, let's do section 2. The directions tell us to draw a note on the staff as indicated. All right, so you should remember from your video lesson, we draw notes just like this. Nothing too special. Okay, and we'll learn more notes. But for our lesson number 2, this is what we have to do. So they want us to put a note on the 4th space. You should already know, hopefully you can see this. 1st space, 2nd space, 3rd space, 4th space. And there's your circle, sorry, your note. 3rd line, 1st line, 2nd line, 3rd line. 1st space, here's our 1st space. 1st line, here's our 1st line. 5th line, here's our 5th line. 2nd line, here's our 2nd line. 2nd space, here's our 2nd space. 3rd space, here's our 3rd space. 4th line, here's our 4th line. 3rd line, here's our 3rd line. Okay, that's section 2. Okay, section 3. The directions tell us to write the note's letter name in the box provided below. Okay, the first one is done for you. Note F is on the 1st space. The next note is on the 3rd line. That would be note B. The first note is given to us. It's on the 4th space, E. The second note we have to fill in. So we know it's on the 2nd line, that must be G. The next question here, we have E, 1st line, and we have a space on the 2nd space, that has to be A. Next we have note D on the 4th line, and we have a space note on the 3rd space, and that's note C. Here we have the note that's given to us is on the 5th line, which is F. So you have F on the 5th line and F also on the 1st space. And they're asking us what is the name of this note. Is on the 1st space, and look at that, it is F. Let's continue. We have, hopefully you can see this, it's on the second space, and this should be A, not C. So we can make that correction, okay? If your paper shows C, that is a typo. It's supposed to be A. Then we have to come over here and put our answer. It's on the second space. That's A. Next, we have a space note on space 4, which is E. And now they're asking us to tell us what note this is. It's on the first space, and that's F. Then we have the third line, which is B. And the next question is on the second line, which is G. Then we have the fourth line. This note is note D. And we have the next note, which is on the first line, which is note E. Okay. Then we have the second space, which is A. And then we have the third line. This note is on the third line, which is note B. Okay. Let's continue with section 3. We're still writing the note names in the box provided. So the first one is on the first line. They gave us the answer, which is E. The next question is on the fourth space, which is also another E. Okay. Now we have the third line. The note is on the third line. That is note B. And they're asking us what is the letter name of the note on the second space, and that is A. Here we have the note is on the fourth line, which is note D. And we have a space note, which is on space 3, which is note C. Here we have the first space, which is note F, and the fifth line, which is also an F. Here we have the second line. The note is on the G line. And here we have the note, which is on the fourth line, which is note D. Okay, section 4. The directions are asking us, using the words below, draw a note on the staff that represents each letter. Okay, so the first letter is A. Where would I put an A on my staff? Well, we already know that it goes on the second space. Now we need a C. You should know that it goes on the third space. Then we need an E, and it goes on the fourth space. Okay? Next word, cab. We need a C. Well, you should already know. We just had a C here on the third space. Next, we need an A. It goes on the second space. And we need a note B. That's the third line. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go to the next one. The word is cafe. So we have to find a C. We know a C is on the third space. Now we need an A. We know the A note is on the second space. Now we need an F. Well, you have some options. You can use the first space or the fifth line. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use the fifth line. And then I need an E. You should know you have two choices as well. You can use the first line or the fourth space. We could have done that over here as well. But I'm going to use the first line. Next word, we need edge. We need an E. So I'm going to use the fourth space. You can use the fourth space or the first line. Now we need a D, which is on the fourth line. Then we need a G. So we know that's on the second line. And we need an E. I'm going to put it here on the first line. Next word, badge. We need a B. So third line. We need an A, second space. We need a D, fourth line. And we need an E. I'm going to put my E here on the first line. You have an option, first line or fourth space. Cabbage. So we have a C, which we know is on the third space. We have an A, so I'm going to put my A here on the second space. We have two B's, remember, that was on the third line. We need an A, second space. We need a G, so we're going to put our G here on the second line. And we're going to squeeze our E right here on the fourth space. Okay? Nice work. Okay, section 5. Write the note's letter name in the box provided below. Okay, so we're just reinforcing our note reading skills. Here we have a note on the third line, which is note B. We have a note on the second space, which is note A. We have a note on the first space, which is note F. We have a note on the fourth line, which is note D. We have a note on the third space, which is note C. We have a note on the second line, which is note G. We have a note on the fourth space, which is note E. We have a note on the first line, which is also an E. We have a note on the fourth space, which is note E. We have another note on the first line, which is good, note E. We have a note on the third line, which is B. And we have a note on the third space, which is note C. We have a note on the fifth line, which is note F. We have a note on the third space, which is note G. We have a note on the fourth line, which is note D. And we have a note on the second space, which is note A. Okay, section 6. Draw the note according to its letter name. Use line or space notes. Okay, so we have to draw a note B. You know that note B is on the third line. Now we need note E. You have two options, the first line or the fourth space. I'm going to put it on the fourth space. Next we have G. We have to put this on the G note. And you should know that the treble clef has two names, the treble clef and the G clef, and that lives on the second line. Here we have an F. You have two choices. You can put it on the fifth line or the first space. I'm going to put it on the first space. Next we have the D. We have to put a note on the D line, which is the fourth line. Then we have a C. We need to add our note for note C, which is on the third space. Next we have to add our A note, which is on the second space. Here we have an F note. and I'm going to put it on the 5th line. You can put it also on the first space. Here we have an E. You have two options, which you should know. I'm going to put it on the first line. Note C, I'm going to put it on the 3rd space. Note F, I'm going to put it on the 5th line. Note G, I'm going to put it on the 2nd line. Note A, the 2nd space. Note B, the 3rd line. Note F, I'm going to put it on the 1st space. And note D, I'm going to put it on the 4th line. Good job.